We'll start it off with Josh Guessman. Go ahead, Josh.
Thanks for talking to us, Greg. Appreciate it. Just wanted your overall thoughts on the game and especially how that second half sort of started for you. You finally got all three DPs on the field at the same time, and then you got a red card in there that really sort of changed things.
Yeah, I have essentially two statements because I said a lot to the group coming into this, and they heard it, and it was a good discussion. The second part is to our fans who show up and fight for us every single game, and they won't see that again. That was unacceptable, and it was disrespectful, I think, to our brand and to who we want to be, and it won't happen again. Yeah, we just too many plays inside of the game that we were loose on. We were, yeah, it doesn't even matter really to talk about tactics or anything. There was too many gaps inside of the competitive side of it for me through the course of the game. There was some emotion involved when the penalty gets called and then it gets overturned again. That was an emotional blow for this group that's had three penalties that could have gone their way previously, and then this is the fourth game where you think you get something and then you don't get something, and that's an emotional punch in the gut, but you got to bounce back from it, and we had to fight through it. And today our emotions got the best of us, and it can't happen. I mean, we got to get out there and fight every minute. That's what we do when we play for this club and we stand for, and for our fans who fight for us, we fight for them, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, so that won't happen again. The rest of it for me is we could talk about it, but we got to close that up for now.
Greg, what does it say to you that you have two veteran players, Costa and Martin, who basically self-inflicted red cards in this game, and they won't be available now for your next game against a rival?
Yeah, it's unacceptable. They know it's unacceptable. They apologize to the group, but it's not acceptable. Yeah, so it can't happen. These guys are veterans in our team. They're supposed to be leaders in our team. They need to set examples. They need to, again, control their emotions, and we need them available always. And yeah, they understand that, and it's not acceptable.
And finally, with some limited success against Seattle in the 3-5-2, was there a thought of starting this game in a 3-5-2 against Houston, or is that something on the road that maybe you have to take into consideration?
Yeah, it's certainly something for us to consider, and there are reasons for that are both tactical and also personnel that are in there for us to consider it. My concern in not starting it again a little bit is just us being clear on the defending side of things. When teams adjust in games, we haven't spent much time inside of a 3-5-2, and when you're on the road and you're having to adapt a little bit inside of games, we just haven't had enough experience to date, in my opinion, to be somewhat versatile inside of it. Last week we used it when we could be hyper aggressive. We were down by 2 goals. It's tough to do that from the opening whistle, and you saw it a little bit in the second half. We were over aggressive at times, even inside of it, and things start to open up when they put guys in the right spots, and we don't adapt well inside it and quickly enough. And so that was my reason. Didn't feel like we were quite ready for something like that just yet.
Thanks, Greg. Travel safe.
Next, we'll go to Alex Ruiz.
Hey, Greg. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on Javier and his kind of first minutes of the game. Did you like what you saw with him with Preston Judd up front?
Well, by the time he got in, a lot of what he was doing was just getting match fitness and putting in some work, getting some touches on the ball, integrating the group, because I think we were down a man quickly, if not at the moment he came in. So pretty quickly we were there. So then the game gets a little bit more difficult. Look, we had a couple moments, but there wasn't enough inside of that for me to have an impression of the two of them together. I thought there was disconnect between the group and Preston sometimes, and there was just some moments that not the day for me to give an assessment on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to talk, we kind of saw at the end of the game, kind of the emotions getting the better of Douglas Costa there. Have you kind of had a talk with him about what went on there?
I had a collective talk with the group, and individual discussions will follow. But right now, everybody is regrouping a little bit, and like I said, it was a great locker room discussion that stays in the locker room, and I expect a response.
Thank you, Greg. Safe travels.
Next, we'll go to Rob.
Hey, Greg, thanks so much for your time. Do you have any positives to take out of this game? Is there anything that you saw that you liked? And then, to follow up, do you have an injury status on Sega and Chase?
The takeaways and things that I like are when we're disciplined, when we're in the spots that we want to be, and not roaming around into other spots and creating sort of these rotations that we don't want, then I think we're very good. When we're disciplined and we get the right people in the right spots to make a difference in the game, I thought we had those few moments inside of that where it really shows up. It's crystal clear. But there's too many moments where there's a lack of discipline or impatience, and again, we start moving into other people's spaces, which then gets other people moving out of spaces, and then we end up disorganizing ourselves, which then we lose the ball, and then the counterattack is on. And that was happening a fair amount during the first half, which just, again, the energy spent in recovery is too high when things like that happen, and it becomes problematic, both physically and also emotionally, because you get it's unnecessary. So discipline inside of our structure is important. Discipline inside of the game, which we saw with 2 red cards, is important. So those things need to they don't need to, they will change, and guys are very clear of that. So we haven't been doing that the last couple of games, and today we got back into what I saw earlier in the season, which is again is like an impatience to want to get on the ball, to try to impact game at the wrong moments, and then we're not where we should be when we should be there, and then that leaves gaps inside of our game.
And then, do you have a status update on Sega and?
Yeah, Chase is he's progressing. He trained last week, and Sega he has a bit of I don't know exactly what you call it, but in kind of the growing pubalgie sort of region, he's getting some fatigue inside of there, and he's trying to he has progressed towards the tail end of the week, so he'll hopefully rejoin inside of training this week and be able to sustain. He's been able to go through a half to a quarter to 3/4 of training sessions without having sort of those symptoms, but I feel like hopefully he's moving in the right direction. We'll integrate him this week and see exactly if he can get through all those things. The other is, you didn't ask, not injury wise, but Julian Ade joined the team here in Houston, so he'll start his training with the group as soon as we get back.
Thanks, Greg. Safe travels back home.
And our last question goes to Christian Mariah.
Good evening, Greg. There are 2 questions. The first one is, how to motivate the players to get the first win after the bad of the season? And the second is, how soon will Douglas Costa be ready to be the starter? Thanks.
Well, it won't be next game for Douglas, so he'll have 2 weeks at least to continue to get his fitness up, and then we'll see where he's at. But yeah, part of this is also being able to trust the player from the start of the game till the end of a game, and he needs to show that maturity within our group as well. And today wasn't his best moment, and for that, as far as I didn't quite understand. I apologize. I didn't quite understand the first question. I think it was about getting the first win.
How to motivate the players to get the first win after bad start of the season? Yeah,
again, I think I think the motivation is there. We got to come out and it's on the training field. We got to work harder on the training field. We got to compete better on the training field. We got to prepare ourselves during the course of the week so that we close the gaps that are appearing off and on inside of these games. And And then we got to step out and execute. And yeah, there's no other shortcuts to getting results in this league. You don't get to show up on Saturday and say you're a talented team and win games in MLS. Every game is hard. Every game is a challenge. That's what I sold these guys. That's the beauty of this league. While there might be other things that they're not used to, some of the guys who are coming in new from the league, there are other things that make this league special. And that is the fact that you have to show up and perform and play at your level every single week, or else you lose. And if you make silly decisions over the course of a game and you leave the group vulnerable or yourself vulnerable, then you lose. And we have to close those gaps. I think again, the message is loud and clear, and it was a great discussion, and it starts on every day that we're on the training field. It has to just be better now. And yeah, there's no motive. The motivation is everybody's here to win. You know, everybody is here at the LA Galaxy to win. And so, and these guys are all competitors. So the motivation is there. There's some frustration for sure inside of some of the calls that we get and don't get. And there's some frustration inside of, you know, balls that we lose or chances that we miss inside of that. But again, the way you get out of it is you work out of it and you compete out of it. And that's what you can do every single week, no matter what, no matter how smooth things are going, you can do that every single week.
Thanks for your time, Greg.
Yeah.